Our story with Ren begins when he is sent off from the champions team. Captain Arius tells him, "You've come to an end with us, and we no longer need you in the team." Ren replies, "And why? What did I do until I was fired?" One girl replies, "Because you didn't do anything in the first place. Being in the team makes no difference between your absence. I said it before, we don't need a monster tamer in our team. Now, leave immediately." Ren hears their words in the midst of grief, takes off his team suit, and leaves while hearing their sarcastic laughter behind him. After that, Ren decides to take a break to think about what to do with his life, especially after losing the only job that provided him with shelter. While he is sitting, some children who like to play with him come to him and ask, "When will you go on your new task?" The children ask him to make them his usual offer, and Ren agrees without hesitation, and then uses his power on a flying eagle, controlling it and making it say hello to them. Children are impressed and admired. "We'll be monster tamers like you when we grow up." Ren is happy with their words, but one child says, "I'm going to be an adventurer when I grow up." Ren's idea interests Ren, and he decides to head to the guild to register as an adventurer. When he arrives, the employee there tells him, "You must pass a test to get an adventurer's license, which is to kill 10 ogres and collect 10 medicinal herbs." Ren immediately agrees and sets off to take the test. When he reaches the ogres, he discovers that they are weak and easy to kill, so he collects their magic crystals and gets the desired herbs. It seems that things are going well, but suddenly, a girl's screams are heard from the depths of the forest. He throws everything in his hand and rushes towards the source of the sound. There, he finds a huge tiger attacking a girl and almost devouring her. Ren pounces on the tiger with all his might, but is shocked when his knife breaks. The tiger gets angry, leaving the girl heading towards Ren to kill him first. Ren smiles despite the situation, saying to himself, "It's okay. The important thing is that the girl can escape safely." But surprise happens. The girl does not run away. On the contrary, she uses her power, flying through the air and kicking him with an overwhelming force that completely breaks his bones. Ren is stunned. Where did you get all this power from? He looks more closely at it to realize its truth. It belongs to one of the 4 most powerful rare species in the world, the cat spirit. But before he can comprehend, the tiger disappears, and the girl falls to the ground unconscious in front of him. Ren runs to her and asks, "Are you okay? Hungry?" Ren is surprised, but takes out the food he has and gives it to her. The girl eats happily, then introduces herself saying, "My name is Kennedy." Ren asks her, "What brings you here?" "Our species is very small, so we live in the mountains alone, but life there was very boring. So I left for my own adventures, and by chance I met you here. Now it's your turn. Tell me what you were doing." Ren tells her everything he's been through, and how he was kicked off from the champions team. Kennedy gets very angry and curses the team, saying, "These traitors, how dare they do that to you?" Seeing her anger for him, Ren feels happy and thanks her, but she surprises him with an unexpected request. "I want you to tame me." Rain is stunned. "How can I tame you? You're a rare species. I don't think my strength will allow that." But Kennedy smiles and says, "The first time I saw you, I felt chills running through my body. You are so strong and you will be able to tame me." Ren thinks a little, and then says, "If you can tame her, she'll be a great help to me, but I don't want to take advantage of her. I just want her to be by my side." Ren cuts his finger and releases his power to activate the dressage contract, and Kennedy responds, and so they are contracted. She looks at him and says, "Now we're connected forever." Ren is thrilled, shakes hands with her excitedly, and that's where their adventures together begin. Ren returns to the Union and hands the employee the required materials. She congratulates him, saying, "I passed the test. Congratulations, you became an official adventurer." Ren is thrilled and receives the reward. When he tells Kennedy, she is thrilled that he is finally an adventurer. Suddenly, a Union member approaches Kennedy, trying to talk to her, but she ignores him. Ren intervenes to defend her, but the man replies sarcastically, "You have nothing to do with this." Kennedy gets angry, saying, "Don't insult Ren. We're on the same team, by the way." The man laughs sarcastically. "You are with this weak?" Kennedy responds firmly, "He's much stronger than you." The man smiles maliciously and says, "If he is, let him perish me. And if he wins over me, I will shut up. But if he loses, I will have to take you from him by force." Ren gets very angry and thinks, "I don't care if someone insults me, but I won't let anyone insult my friends." He grabs the man's hand and the confrontation begins. In less than a second, Ren defeats him and breaks his arm. And here, A new reality unfolds. After signing Kennedy, Ren has just as much energy as hers. The union employee comes and apologizes for what happened and even tells them that the union is considering revoking that man's license because of his actions. Ren thanks her, then sets off with Kennedy on new missions. But during a mission, they hear screams coming from the forest. They hide to watch what's happening, only to find a huge gang attacking an old merchant and about to kill him. Kennedy gets to know the gang and warns Ren, "They're so dangerous." But Ren smiles confidently and says, "But I want to save him." Kennedy replies, "Okay, let's pounce on them together." Kennedy sets out to protect the old man, while Ren pounces on the gang, strikes hard, and no one can stop him. When Kennedy was watching Ren, she couldn't take her eyes off him, wondering, "Why is my heart beating so fast?" Her face was red, and she seemed to be starting to love him. Meanwhile, Ren was killing the gang members one by one, and then he went towards her, found her face red, and asked her why. The girl was embarrassed and hesitantly replied, "Nothing, this," and then asked him about the secret of his strength and how he managed to defeat all of these. He replied, "I'm a monster tamer, so I had to learn to fight against any dangerous monsters that might come my way." Kennedy nodded. "Well, I get it." Then, they asked the old man why he was traveling alone, even though the place was full of thieves, and he told them that he had hired 3 men to protect him. But they fled as soon as the gang attacked them. Ren tried to console him, saying, "It's okay, it happened." But the old man warned them, "You have to get out of here as soon as possible. This gang is big, and if you know what you have done, they will not leave you alive." Ren replied confidently, "So we have to eliminate them before they even think about going after us." Kennedy looked at Ren in amazement and said, "But there are over 100 people. How are we going to defeat them alone?" Ren smiled. "Don't worry, I have a plan." Indeed, Ren and Kennedy went to the gang's hideout and waited there. Ren had used a certain animal to be able to find out the location of the enemies. Then he turned to Kennedy and told her, "Go back to the city and tell the knights to come and collect the bodies." Kennedy was surprised by his overconfidence and asked, "But watch out, don't do anything that might get you hurt." And he replied with a reassuring smile, "Don't worry, they won't be able to hurt me." Next, take out a trained insect, which can immobilize the person it stings for 12 hours. The insect summoned its peers, while it left as a club for the city to carry out their plan. Elsewhere, it was 3 gang members who fled, including 2 from the hero squad that had previously expelled Ren. One of the girls in the band got angry at her 3rd colleague and asked him sharply, "How did you not comb the area well? How do you think a tamer of only 1 squirrel can survive in a forest like this? You had to tame at least 10. The young man replied in astonishment, "How can I tame 10 monsters? That's impossible." The girl was shocked and said, "You're lying," but suddenly remembered how Ren was taming 20 animals at once and easily controlling them, and she fell silent. Then she threatened her colleague, saying, "You are in charge of this task, and if you fail, I will get rid of you myself." At this time, Ren was not taming just 1 monster, but controlling 100 monsters at once. He ordered them to attack the gang, and all their members fell to the ground paralyzed and unable to move. Kennedy arrived with a group of men who began to gather the gang members to put them in jail. But suddenly, everyone heard the sound of a huge monster approaching, breaking everything in its way, and then began to attack them fiercely. Ren, however, did not back down, but confronted him with a heavy blow that struck him. As a club, she fought a monster and managed to eliminate him. However, the numbers began to grow, and the situation seemed to be trapped. Ren shouted at everyone, "Get out of the cave immediately! We will eliminate the monsters ourselves." People hesitated at first, but eventually agreed and left the cave. Ren and Nady started fighting bravely, striking left and right until they were able to eliminate all the monsters. People outside were worried, fearing that something had happened to them, but soon they came out of the cave unscathed, and everyone rejoiced in their victory. Ren stood contemplating the scene and said to himself, "Just 2 days ago, I was jobless and outcast, and no one cared about me. Now everyone is rallying around me, celebrating my achievement. All thanks to you as a club, thank you for everything." Kennedy was very happy with his words, and said to him with a smile, "You're welcome." So, the day ended, and they returned to the city where Ren received his reward and rented a place to sleep. When they arrived at the hostel, the hotelier told them that there was only 1 room available. Kennedy had to agree to take it, while Ren was embarrassed to share the room with her, so he packed up his things while they went out to sleep outside. But suddenly, Kennedy grabbed his hand and asked, "Where are you going?" "Stay here." Ren looked at her hesitantly and said, "It's not right to sleep in the same room. You're a girl, I'm a guy, and you've only known me for 1 day. You can't trust me so quickly." Kennedy smiled and said, I trust you, because I felt like you were a good person, like me. I'm not like others trying to exploit me. Then you are my master, and I cannot let you sleep outside. Her words persuaded him to stay, but she asked him to turn his face when she changed her clothes, and he replied with a laugh, I'll close my eyes, don't worry. Then, Ren lay down to sleep, while she stayed awake as a club, staring at him in great happiness, recalling her journey, the suffering of people exploiting her skills, and the fear she felt all her life. But now, thanks to Ren, she feels safe for the first time. The next morning, the two continued their adventures, until the guild girl told them about a difficult task. There is a terrifying monster at the big bridge that defeats everyone who tries to cross it, and whoever manages to eliminate it will receive a huge reward. As soon as Ren heard of the reward, he immediately agreed, and set off with Kanade to the bridge in search of the monster. As soon as she got there, she was shocked when she saw a huge dragon in front of her. Suddenly, the dragon fell to the ground and turned into a girl in front of them, who smiled. It's good that someone came to humanize my loneliness. Let me introduce myself, Tanya, as one of the strong, dragon-like species. Ren was deeply shocked and asked, Are you the one attacking people here? Tanya smiled and said, Yes. Now get ready too, it's your turn. She attacked Ren's very quickly, but he managed to repel the attack, so she looked at him in amazement and said, You amazed me. This blow alone brought down half of those who were here before you, and then stepped back and blew fire out of her mouth. This time Kanade's tail was consumed by flames, angering her, and she rushed to attack with all her might. Ren took advantage of the opportunity and drove towards Tanya to get ready for her, but she noticed at the last minute, grabbed them together and circled them in the air, then threw them away. After that, she prepared to launch a fatal blow at them while they were still in the sky. But Ren laughed and told Kanade, Just give me 3 minutes and I'll take care of it. In those moments, Rin began taming one of the birds that were flying in the sky. The 3 minutes passed, and he returned to fighting, and Tanya looked at him and said, Finally you will face me? Ren replied with a smile, Not me, it's those. Suddenly swarms of birds swooped down from everywhere and attacked Tanya. She got angry and said sarcastically, Do you think a dragon like me would be defeated in such a naive way? Ren laughed and said, It's a Beto. Its pinch paralyzes the whole body and prevents its owner from moving for hours. You won't even be able to move a finger now. Tanya admitted her defeat and surrendered, and Ren was thrilled. He took her to the guild and told them that he had defeated the monster that was intercepting people on the bridge. The union employee rejoiced and said, I will give you the reward, but only after making sure that your words are true. Then she looked at Tanya and asked, And who is this girl next to you? Tanya almost identified herself, but Ren was quick to muffle her mouth, saying, She's just my follower, nothing more. When they went out, Ren explained to her, If people knew you were the monster, they wouldn't leave you alone. My mission is over here, and I don't want anything from you. If you continue on your way, you will reach another city. Live in peace, but don't repeat what you did here again. Tanya looked at him in shock and said, You're so kind. But I decided to stay with you. Or do you not want me? Ren were surprised by her words, while Kanade was jealous, but eventually agreed to bring her into his team, concluding a contract similar to that of Kanade. Next, Tanya approached Ren and said gently, Take good care of me, sir. Meanwhile, the hero's squad was in big trouble, as they couldn't cross the Forest of Illusion for a whole week. One girl said, If Ren were with us, he would use his animals and cross us in seconds. Arius laughed maliciously and said, What's the problem? Let's give it back to us. He has no dignity, and will be content to return in seconds. Meanwhile, Rain and his companions in the forest were on a mission to eliminate the slime creatures that were spoiling the fields. The monsters were weak, and anyone could defeat them, but their problem lay in their sheer numbers. During their search, Ren couldn't find where the slimes were gathering. So he told Kanade and Tanya, Watch my body for a moment and I'll know where they are. They didn't understand what he meant, but he closed his eyes and passed consciousness to one of the birds in the sky, and then told them, Watch out for my body. I'll check where they gather and come back. The two girls were surprised by what he did, but he already managed to find the place where the monsters gathered. Upon arrival, Tanya asked Ren to use the magic of fire against them. He replied, But I'm weak at magic, and my strength is barely at the first level. Tanya smiled and said, Just try, don't bother. Ren agreed, and suddenly, he launched a devastating gunshot blow that wiped out all the monsters at once. Tanya looked at him in amazement and said, As a dragon-like, I am ranked as the second most powerful magical energy among rare spirits. Since you made a deal with me, you have the same magical energy as I do. Tanya began to teach him magic, but she was strict and nervous during his training. However, Ren managed to master it. After completing the mission, They returned to the guild, and Rain handed over the monster's gems, and he received his reward. Then they went out for a walk in the city. In the evening, Ren invited the two girls to dinner to celebrate Tanya joining their team, and the trio were delighted. But suddenly, Kanade asked him, "What's the secret of your power in taming monsters? And where did you come from?" Ren was silent for a moment, and then finally decided to tell them his story, saying, "I lived in a village full of talented monster tamers. My parents were among them, and one day, I left for the forest to train and increase my strength. Time passed without me feeling, and when I came back at night, I found my village destroyed and all its inhabitants had been killed." Pause, then continue in a low voice. "I couldn't bear the shock, so I stayed standing there until a group of soldiers came and took me with them. I grew up in a family and had to work every day to earn a living. Until one day, I met the hero Arius and his friends, and they offered me to join them. I was very happy. I finally felt that someone needed me. But Arius saw me as nothing but a tool. He used me to carry luggage, to monitor the place, and he continued to exploit me again and again. I was doing all this for nothing until the day he decided to kick me off from the team. The rest you know well." Kanade was deeply moved by his words and told him, "Now I understand why you are throwing yourself in danger alone and why you are leaving us behind." Tanya felt sad for him and said, "You're too kind, but that's a beautiful quality in you." Ren felt very moved, and tears almost gathered in his eyes. But Kanade and Tanya looked at him confidently and said, "Don't care about them. If we ever see them, we will never forgive them." And so the day ended. The next day, the trio set off on a new mission to face the ogres. As a club, and Tanya started competing for who would be able to defeat the most of them. Ren warned Tanya, "Wait and don't go any further. It could be dangerous for you." But she did not listen to him and replied confidently, "No one will be able to me." She rushed into the fight against the ogres, not caring about the danger. But suddenly, a huge ghoul grabbed her hand and pulled her down to the ground. Tanya fired a shot from her hands and killed him in moments, but she didn't notice another ogre who was attacking her from behind, and almost killed her had Ren not intervened at the last minute, receiving the blow in her place, using his arm to protect her. Tanya was deeply moved and felt guilty that she did not listen to his warning, which led to his injury. They went back to the guild and handed over the stones, and things were going well. But Tanya couldn't forget what had happened, so she went to the river feeling sad and confused. She didn't know how to face Ren after she caused his injury. A little girl saw her and asked her, "Why do you look sad?" Tanya replied, "I made a huge mistake." The child smiled and said, "My mother always tells me that if I make a mistake, I have to apologize." Tanya was moved by her words, and when Ren came to see her, she looked at him and said, "I'm sorry I didn't listen to you." Ren smiled and said, "If that's what makes you sad, it's okay. The important thing is that you're okay and sound. But be careful next time. I may not be there to protect you." Tanya was thrilled by his words, and they went home to rest. As always, there was only one room to sleep, which made Tanya feel closer to Ren. During the night, she began to realize that she had come to admire him, and perhaps indeed loved him. The next morning, while on their way to their new mission, they encountered something completely unexpected. The hero squad was standing in front of them. Ren was so shocked that he couldn't move. As for Tanya and Kanade, they didn't know who they were and didn't understand what was happening. "Let's get out of here now," Rain muttered. But no sooner had he moved than he heard Arius's voice calling him. "Don't treat me like that, my friend. We've been comrades in the past, haven't we? Or are you angry just because we called you worthless?" Tanya and Kanade realized they were in front of the champion squad, and they were very angry. Arius noticed their presence and was stunned to see that two of the world's most powerful factions were walking with and supporting Ren. But Ren wasn't interested and asked him to cut it short, saying, "Say what you have. I don't have time to waste with you." Arius smiled and said, "You know the Forest of Illusion, don't you?" Ren replied apprehensively, "What do you mean?" Arius continued, "We tried to cross it for a week, but we didn't succeed. You know, traveling with luggage is very daunting, which is why we want you with us to use your animals and guide us through the road, as well as to carry our luggage." Ren's face blushed angrily, and he said sarcastically, "Do you expect me to agree to this ridiculous request? Let's go, girls. We don't have time to waste with them." But one of the girls from the hero squad stopped him and said, "The forest hides inside it the shield of truth. a magic tool that will help the hero defeat the Demon King. Your refusal to do so means that you will allow many innocent people to die. Ren looked at her sharply and replied, "You are really malicious. You know I won't let anyone get hurt." At that moment, they grabbed his injured arm so hard, which made him in great pain. Ren was angry but had to agree, saying, "Okay, I'll help you." But Tanya and Kanade did not allow it. Tanya angrily told them, "You kicked him out earlier, and now you're asking him to help you? It will only happen if you kneel in front of him and apologize." Arius was very angry and shouted, "Do you think that I, as a hero, would apologize to a coward like him? That's impossible." And then looked at Ren and said sarcastically, "Why don't you order these animals to retreat? It's true that they're spirits of the stronger factions, but after all, they're just monsters, right?" Ren couldn't hold back his anger, so he punched Arius in the face, saying, "These are my friends, and if you dare to insult either of them again, you'll see what you don't like." Arius looked at him angrily and said, "How dare a mere tamer of monsters beat me? Well, I challenge you in battle. My team is against yours, and whoever loses is subject to the winner." Ren smiled confidently and said, "Okay, the battle has begun. As a club, I faced the sword-wielding fighter. Tanya took over the fight against the two girls from the team, and Ren was his opponent, Arius himself. The confrontation is caught." The fencer was quite self-confident and told Lucanati, "I've always wanted to fight a member of the stronger factions." But Kanade angrily said, "I'll make you apologize to Ren for offending him." She rushed hard at him, and he found himself receiving blows from every side without being able to respond. He pooled his energy in his sword to attack her, but she easily repelled the blow. She stepped back a little and then mocked him, saying, "All this screaming about legendary techniques, that's all you got?" The swordsman felt angry and said, "I will fight you with all my might." His energy began to gather around his body, and she looked at him as a club and said, "Finally." She started taking it seriously. "Well, I'll only use half my strength." In less than a second, she disappeared in front of him, then suddenly appeared behind him, kicked him and broke one of his bones, and he fell to the ground. Tanya began her battle against the two girls, provoking them, saying, "Come on, show me what you have." They got angry and rushed towards her with all their might, but Tanya just snapped her fingers to neutralize their spells. The girls were surprised again, while Tanya was laughing sarcastically and saying, "Is this the most you have? My ability is called physical cancellation, and it enables me to erase any spell against me, no matter how strong it is," Tanya said. "So are you done?" The girls became more angry, gathering all their strength and attacking them, but to no avail. At that point, they completely lost the motivation to fight. Tanya continued, "Do you think you're going to smell rain and I'll let you do it? No, no way. Now I'm going to show you the real magic." The sky began to turn red, and meteorites appeared on the horizon. The girls were terrified by what they saw, and realized that this might be their end. They couldn't stand the scene and fainted, but Tanya didn't intend to kill them, because she didn't want Ren to be sad. Thus, she managed to defeat the two girls, leaving only Ren and Arius. "You see, who will win?" Arius quipped. "It was foolish to face a hero like me. Get ready for your death." But before he could finish, Ren rushed in and attacked him suddenly, interrupting his speech. Arius became angry and began to attack with his sword, which he was very skilled at using, hitting Ren in several places on his body. However, Ren struck a powerful punch that made him retreat, and, before Arius could catch his breath, he found another punch shattering the rock behind him. He was shocked and said, "How did you become so strong?" Ren replied with a wry smile, "This is the power of the tamer of the monsters I mocked. By the way, I memorize your every move." He then kicked him hard, knocking him away. Arius was very angry and launched a lightning spell at Ren, but he countered it using his magic enhanced by another energy. Arius said confidently, "This spell of yours will not withstand the barrage of spells that I will now launch," and then began to launch more magic attacks. Ren tried to avoid attacks, and it seemed that the situation had become difficult for him, or so he wanted to show it. As Arius attacked, he suddenly found himself falling to the ground, his whole body drugged. Ren laughed. "Have you forgotten that I'm good at taming insects?" It turns out that Ren has been watching an insect from the beginning of the fight, and allowed Arius to hit him so that he could direct the insect to bite him. Arius fell to the ground and said in surrender, "Forgive me, I'm sorry, I will not repeat this mistake." But do you think Ren will forgive him after he insulted his friends? Definitely not. Ren hit him with a powerful punch that smashed his face and shattered the ground beneath him. Tanya and Kanade arrived at his place, and they were very happy with their victory. After the defeat of the champions team, Tanya forced the girls to apologize to Ren. Arius then began to tell them about the Shield of Truth, which is located in the Forest of Illusion under the protection of a monster. Ren said confidently, "Don't worry, I'll bring it myself." Rain and his friends set out into the forest in search of the gear. Tanya came up with the idea of burning the forest to the ground to make the search easier, but Rin stopped her saying, "Slow down, Tanya." They continued their progress inside the forest, and Ren decided to merge himself with another bird to figure out the way to the gear. After the merger was successful, he was able to locate and then return to continue the journey with his friends. But they kept walking for a long time in vain. Kennedy said, "Will we keep walking forever? I'm tired." But before she could continue, she noticed that the stone they had placed as a sign of return had reappeared in front of them, which meant they had returned to their starting point. Tanya marveled, "I'm sure we were going in the right direction. Something abnormal is happening here." Using her ability to detect mana, she discovered that a tree was sending an imaginary magic that would make them walk in a circle. Tanya said, "This tree is the reason. If we want to progress, we have to break it first." She got excited. "Leave this task to me," and then stepped back in preparation for a big blow, but suddenly she heard a voice saying, "Leave the place." She froze like a club in place, then hid behind Ren's, saying fearfully, "What's that voice?" Before she could finish speaking, a fairy appeared from inside the tree. Everyone stood in a daze, disbelieving what they were seeing. Ren said cheerfully, "Hello," but the fairy looked at them angrily and said, "Leave the place immediately." Ren told her, "We're looking for the Shield of Truth." She replied sharply, "I told you, leave the place." Ren tried to speak again, but she interrupted saying, "Are you leaving or?" Suddenly everyone ran towards the forest again. They couldn't believe there was a fairy guarding the gear. Tanya told Ren, "She deceived us the first time, but if we come back now we can beat her. Don't bother with her spells. I'll protect you." "But do you think Ren is going to hit a girl?" "I'll talk to her again first," Ren said. The girl shouted, "Are you stupid? She was going to kill us." Ren smiled and said, "I'll try to get along with her." Everyone was convinced and went back to talking to her. "I'm sorry," Ren said, "but I want something from you." The fairy said angrily, "It looks like you want to die here." Ren said quietly, "I just want to talk to you, nothing more." But the fairy attacked him directly, and Ren did not move from his place, but let her arrows hit him. I asked him in amazement, "Why didn't you run away?" He replied, "I came to talk." That's it. The fairy got angry again and attacked him with stronger spells, and was about to kill him. But Tanya and Kunadi rushed to protect him from the arrows. When the fairy saw that they were protecting him, she cancelled her spells and asked, "Why are you defending him?" Kunadi replied, "I know fairies hate humans, but believe me, he's different from them. He's good." Tanya said to her, "And I testify to you that." She was convinced by their words and went to Ren to wake him up, and then told him, "My name is Sura. Nice to know you." He replied, "My name is Ren, and I am honored." They finally sat down together and started telling her why they came to this place. Sora realized it and told them, "You're looking for the Shield of Truth, aren't you? That gear is in our village, we fairies, and it's protected by a barrier I made myself, and I won't let you in, but I can go and bring the gear for you." Everyone rejoiced and said to her, "We agree." Sora went to get the shield, came back to them to deliver it to them, and then said, "You got the shield. Come on now, leave from here." Ren replied, "Okay," and then took the girls with him and started leaving. But Sora wanted to tell them something, but she stopped herself. However, Ren felt she wanted to say something. He returned to her and asked her, "What's the matter? Tell me." She was about to tell him what hurt her, but backed down when she remembered that it could lead to their death. As she was about to deny it, Ren interrupted, saying, "It's okay. I'll help you even if you get hurt or lose my life. She helped me and brought me the gear I was looking for, so let me give you back." Sora was very moved by his words and began to tell him about her suffering. "I have a twin sister named Rona. She is different from me, but she is the closest person to me. We were always here, protecting our village together with the magic barrier we created. But one day, a monster from the army of the Demon King appeared and attacked us. We tried to fight him, but he was very strong and managed to beat us. Rona sacrificed herself for me and escaped while she was captured. Now she's locked up, and I can't do anything to save her. I went to the village chief to ask for help, but he refused, preferring the safety of all the fairies to the rescue of my sister. I know his decision was right, but I can't leave her there without her help." Ren listened to her story and was very moved by it, then told her, "Don't worry, I'll bring your sister back to you soon. That's a promise from me." Sura was deeply moved and tears streamed from her eyes as she hugged him. After that, the four devised a plan to save Rona from the monster unharmed. Sura remained in the forest to protect her village, while Rin and his companions vowed to return her sister safely. Ren arrived at the place of the monster, and he looked very strong. He found Rona hanging on a tree, chained, unable to move. Ren took advantage of the monster's preoccupation, attacking it with all his might, but the magical attacks did not affect him. Kennedy jumped and hit him with her foot. Then Rin joined her and dealt him a blow with his fist, but the monster was not affected. The monster realizes they were here to save Rona, so he dealt a heavy blow to kill her, but Tanya intervened at the last minute, freed her, and took her away. The monster became very angry and began to destroy everything around it, driving Rin and Kennedy away from him. Ren quickly thought of using a spell to distract the monster, summoning a group of insects to get his attention. Then he turned to Kennedy and told her, "I want you to deal him one blow after I cast this spell." Kennedy objected, saying, "One blow won't be enough. He has already received 10 blows and hasn't fallen." Ren confidently replied, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." He cast a strengthening spell on Kennedy, and her body glowed with powerful energy. Kennedy then set off and hit the monster with her fist, completely destroying it and disappearing. Moments later, Tanya returned carrying Rona. Ren asked her what she thought of the spell, and she replied, "It's a strengthening spell I learned in my village." Kennedy was very happy, and everyone was overwhelmed with a sense of happiness. Rona finally opened her eyes and rushed to her sister, who hugged her crying with joy. Afterwards, Sora approached Ren and said, "I don't know how to thank you for what you've done. You're really a person like no other." Rona also thanked him, saying, "I don't know how I'm going to give you back this favor." Sora felt ashamed, and then they all started joking and laughing. In the end, Sora and Rona decided to leave the village, because they could not forgive those who abandoned them. The problem is that they never knew the way out, and they had never left the village before. Kennedy suggested that they join their team, and the girls liked the idea, and Ren agreed too. Rona asked Renaz to make a contract with them, and he agreed. But he didn't know how to do it with fairies, as he had never done it before. Tanya encouraged him, saying, "Try. You won't lose anything." Ren told her, "Okay," and then focused his energy fully, and suddenly he came up with a solution and managed to make a contract with them. Thus, Sora and Rona joined the team, and everyone was happy. Ren then took the gear and went to the champions team to hand it over to them. Arius was shocked, not believing that Ren had been able to bring the gear in just 2 days. He said to him, "It's impossible. The gear can't be real. It must be fake." But one of the girls on the team cast a spell to check and discovered that it was really the real gear. Arius was then very angry, while Ren took his reward for the task and told them goodbye. But as he left, a team member stopped him and asked, "How about joining our team again?" Renaz was silent for a moment, but Arius burst out in anger and said, "How dare you invite him to join us?" The young man replied, "Have you seen how strong he is? He got the gear that the 4 of us couldn't find in a whole week." The rest of the team agreed to the idea, and the young man approached Ren again and asked him, "So, what do you think?" Ren didn't immediately respond, but he looked at the girls, found them reaching out to him and telling him, "Let's go." Ren regained consciousness, then said to them with a wry smile, "Back to you? This is only in your dreams." The young man tried to convince him, "If you stay with us, you will gain fame and money that no one can reach." But Ren replied firmly, "I don't need anything from you. I already have everything I need." The champions team were furious at his refusal, but Arius was the furious, still remembering Ren's blow. He murmured angrily, "I will never forgive him. I have to remove it from the face of the earth." The day ended on this scene, and the next day, Rin was sitting with his friends, talking about the Demon King and how he could be defeated. A long time ago, there was a very powerful Demon King, and no humans could defeat him, Ren said. But one human being received great power that enabled him to seal and defeat Satan. That man became known as the hero, and one of his grandsons is Arius, and his power should increase over time to defeat the new Demon King. But one of the girls asked him, "Why are we waiting for someone like Arius to defeat him? Why don't we do it?" Ren replied, "Because your energy is normal and very limited, while Arius's energy will increase over time, making him able to kill him." But Sora intervened, saying, "But the more you make a deal with us, the stronger you too, which means you may reach the strength needed to defeat him." Ren was shocked by her words and said, "That's right." Kennedy rejoiced and said excitedly, "Then you must make a deal with everyone you meet, and then become the hero who defeats the Demon King." But Ren laughed, "It's not that easy. Let's forget about this now and enjoy our adventures, and when the time comes, we'll see what we can do." Everyone agreed with him, and they were very happy. When they returned to the city, they fell asleep and woke up the next day to eat with Sora and Rona. who were very happy with the food. Then Ren said, I made a lot of money from Arius and his followers, and it's time to spend it. Tanya suggested to him, why don't you buy a powerful weapon that will help you face your enemies? Ren liked the idea and agreed. So he took the girls with him and went to the blacksmith to make him a weapon. But along the way, Sora and Rona seemed worried about humans, but gradually began to adapt. When they arrived at the blacksmith's shop, they noticed that he was sad because of his customers. Ren started looking for a suitable weapon, but felt something was abnormal. One of the customers entered the blacksmith and asked him for a strong sword, and the blacksmith gave him a regular sword, and then the customer left. Ren was angry and went to mourning, saying, this sword is not good, you have better, so why did you give him this sword? The blacksmith was surprised by Ren's intuition, and was glad that someone finally noticed that the swords were not original. He began to tell them why, and said, as a blacksmith, I consider the swords I make as my children, so I want to give them to those who really deserve them. Ren said to him, then why don't you give me one of those powerful weapons that I hidden? Looks amazing. Al-Haddad replied sadly, at first, I would give my weapons to anyone who asked for them, but I found them throwing them in the streets and coming back to ask for others, without any appreciation of their true value. Ren was moved by his words and said, so, can you make me a powerful weapon? Al-Haddad agreed but said, there is only one problem. Ren asked him, what is it? Al-Haddad replied, I don't have the material to make weapons. Ren said, and where can we find them? I have a mine that I inherited from my family, but I can't find anything in it anymore, and I suspect someone is stealing it, Al-Haddad said. Ren said, so what's the solution? The blacksmith gave them a task to go to the mine and recover the material, and Ren enthusiastically agreed, and the blacksmith was very happy. They went to the union and told the employee that they would carry out the task for the sake of Al-Haddad, and she gave them approval. When they arrived at the mine, Rain noticed a strange bird flying over them. As they spoke, two people came out from inside the mine and attacked them, but Kanedi and Tanya confronted them until they lost consciousness. Then, Sora and Rona used their magical power to figure out how many people were left inside the mine, only to discover that there were 3 others, including a tamer of monsters. Then, Ren said, we've defeated 2, and there's still 3 inside, including someone who has the ability to tame monsters. Prepare to attack, because they will be strong. They entered the mine, and the thieves began to attack them hard. But Sora and Rona used their magical power to repel the blows. Everyone attacked again, but Tani and Kanedi managed to eliminate them. Ren then reached their leader and told him, surrender yourself calmly and don't cause any more trouble. The boy refused to give up and attacked Ren, but Ren struck him a heavy blow to the stomach. The boy flared up in anger and said angrily, I will never forgive that old man for what he did to me. Suddenly, he did his power, and at that moment, he heard the sound of a monster approaching them. Everyone was shocked, and they couldn't believe that this boy had tamed that monster in the first place. Ren asked him, how did you manage to tame him? Taming monsters is impossible for humans. The boy replied confidently, I found him when he was still young, so he had no hostility towards me. Now get ready because you're going to die. The monster began to attack, and Ren was trying to dodge his quick strikes, but the mine was slowly collapsing due to the intensity of the attacks. Ren looked at Kennedy and said, get everybody out of here! Kennedy understood it, and took everyone out of the mine, leaving Ren alone with the monster. Rennis was trying to avoid the hits, but the situation was getting worse. At that moment, Kennedy agreed with Tanya to protect the rescued people, and then decided to return to help Ren. Indeed, she reached him at the last minute and rescued him from the monster. Ren told her, listen, I want you to do exactly what I tell you. She replied, well, what's the plan? He told her, the quickest way to defeat the beast now is to defeat its tamer first. Therefore, I will eliminate the beast and you will make it cancel its orders. Kennedy agreed, and the two began attacking together. Ren became able to predict the monster's movements, so he began to skillfully dodge his attacks. At the same time, Kennedy grabbed the boy and pinned him in place. Ren told him, give up, you can't win. But the boy shouted angrily, on my dead body, and then ordered the beast to attack Rain more fiercely. Ren was in a difficult position, and the mine was collapsing more and more. While dodging the blows, he got an idea. Can I tame this monster myself? He knew it was impossible, but he had no other choice. He decided to risk everything for that step. Ren stood still, and the monster was about to kill him. Kennedy was terrified, but suddenly stopped the monster moving. Yes, Ren was able to tame him. The boy was shocked by what had happened, and said in amazement, how did you do that? I am the most powerful monster tamer on Earth. No one but me can tame this monster. But not only did he tame him, but Ren also wiped out his grip on the monster completely. The boy could not comprehend what was happening, so he began to give successive orders to the monster, but the latter did not respond. Instead, the monster attacked its owner and tried to kill him. At the last minute, Ren intervened and struck a fatal blow to the monster, ending it completely. Then he looked at the boy and said, "You caused the monster to be agitated because of your many orders, and that would have killed you." Then he added, "Now come with me quietly and tell me everything." They took him with them, and he began to tell them why he had done all this. It turned out that Hadad Antar had previously given him and his followers ordinary weapons, but they did not help him in any of his tasks. Realizing that he had been deceived, he decided not to let Antar work as a blacksmith again, and began stealing his mine in retaliation. Ren understood the situation, then went to Antar and told him everything. Antar felt remorse and said, "I made a mistake in what I did to him." Then he decided to make real weapons for everyone, and the first to get them was Ren. Ren told him the specifications he wanted, and things finally got back to normal. But on the other hand, the hero Arius was organizing a competition to select new members for his team. Many flocked to apply, but he didn't accept anyone, comparing them all to Ren, and anyone weaker than him immediately rejected him. The girl who works with him tried to convince him not to compare, but he got angry with her, causing her to step back with fear and say, "I'm sorry, do what you think is right." When I left, Arius took a cursed ring out of his desk drawer and said in a low voice, "I will not leave you. I will kill you soon." Ren meant that. Meanwhile, Ren had returned to the Union to ask about the fate of the people arrested. The clerk told him all the details, and he shook his head and said, "Okay," but obviously, he was sad, because he didn't want them to be imprisoned. Sora and Rona noticed this, so they tried to entertain him and took him for a walk. Everyone felt happy and fun, and Ren bought them some food, which they were very happy with. He then asked them what kind of power he gained from hiring them, but he replied that he did not know yet. The girls felt frustrated, but he gently wiped their heads, so they rejoiced again and happily resumed their outing. But as they were returning home, the son of the governor of the region suddenly appeared. He saw Sora and Rona and liked how they looked, so he asked for their names. After they answered, he boldly told them, "I want you to be my servants." Everyone was shocked, and no one understood what was going on. Ren came forward and asked him angrily, "And who are you, and what do you want from them?" The boy replied arrogantly, "I am the son of the ruler of this state, and what I want, I get by force." Anger flared in Ren's eyes, and he said to him firmly, "You won't take one of them." The boy became very angry and ordered his guards to attack Ren and take the girls by force. But Ren didn't give them any chance. He started smashing them one by one, setting an example for everyone. The governor's son got very angry and said to Ren, "If you don't hand me the girls, I'll kill all the people who are here." Ren looked at him in shock and said, "What does it have to do with it? Are you out of your mind? How will you kill your flock?" The arrogant boy laughed. "I'm free, I do what I want. If the girls don't bring me now, I'll kill them all." Ren was confused and did not know how to save these innocents. Sora and Rona suggested helping him, but he refused, fearing people would discover their truth as fairies. Ren was standing hesitantly, but suddenly, a new spell appeared in his mind due to his contract with Sora and Rona. Ren controlled the spell, creating a huge number of fireballs and firing them at all the soldiers, saving people in just a few seconds. The governor's son was shocked and could not believe what was happening in front of him. Then Rin lifted him by the neck and said sharply, "If I see you again, this will be your end." Terrified, the boy gathered his soldiers and fled the entire place. Then Sora and Rona warmly thanked Ren, and they were very happy. The townspeople approached and thanked him as well, making him feel proud. But suddenly, an old woman walked up to him and whispered, "You must flee the city immediately." Ren was surprised, but soon realized why. The old woman told him that the ruler is completely corrupt, covering up his son's crimes. The boy would kidnap any girl he liked, take her to the palace to assault her, then torture her and make her his servant. If anyone tried to file a complaint against him, the knights would cancel it, so he could continue to do whatever he wanted with impunity. The situation in the city was completely rotten. Ren returned to Tanya and Kanedi and told them everything. Anger flared in Tanya's heart and she said, "We must burn the palace with all in it." But Ren stopped her, saying, "We have to think rationally first. We can't destroy the city, and I can't do anything that puts you in danger or takes you away from me." Ren wanted to save all the townspeople, but he was also worried about the girls and wanted to protect them. He thought of escaping them from the city, but they rejected the idea. Sora said to him, "Don't be afraid for us. Let us help you. We know you want to protect us, but we love the people of this city. and we want to save them too. Ren was moved by their words, and was finally convinced. On the other hand, the prince in his palace was very angry at what Ren had done. He summoned the cavalry commander, ordered him to capture Ren immediately, and then offered him a huge bribe to facilitate the task. After that, his office bell rang, and one of the enslaved girls entered. He started beating her violently, while she could do nothing but cry. He enjoyed humiliating her. The next day, Ren went to the cavalry to file a complaint against the governor's son. But the girl who worked there was shocked by his words, and did not write anything. Before Ren could say more, a group of riders appeared behind him, and one said, "We heard everything. It was just a simple fight. Nothing more." Ren became angry and realized that everyone was complicit in this corrupt circle. But in the corner of the place, there was a girl eavesdropping on the conversation, and she seemed to be hiding something. When they left the guild, the girl went out and followed them, and then apologized for the actions of the cavalry. She told them, "I know that the ruler is corrupt, and most of the knights work for him because of money. Everyone is traitors, except for me and a few loyal individuals. I want to restore the dignity of the city and the union, and I need your help to make that happen." Ren was suspicious of her intentions, but Kennedy told him, "I feel like she's a good girl." The girl introduced herself saying, "My name is Stella." Ren reached out to her and said, "Okay, let's start working together." Tears streamed from Stella's eyes from joy. Everyone began to draw up a plan to restore the cavalry guild and capture all the traitors. They spread a rumor among the people that there is evidence hidden in one of the old warehouses that can prove the betrayal of the ruler. When the knights heard this, they decided to head to the warehouse at night to get rid of any evidence against him, which was exactly what Ren wanted. Once inside the warehouse, Ren began to eliminate them one by one. Some tried to flee through the back door, but it was locked with ice to prevent them from escaping. Ren used the glove Antar had made for him and began to eliminate the cavalry, but their commander was very strong and was able to repel his attacks easily. Stella asked Ren to let her fight him, and he agreed. She walked up to him and said, "Give up. You have no escape now." The commander got angry and shouted, "In your dreams!" and then punched her to the ground. Ren worried about her, but she got up again, and the anger was evident in her eyes. She attacked him with full force and managed to defeat him. Thus, Ren and his friends triumphed, and the cavalry guild was restored. All that was left with them was the governor and his son. When the prince learned what had happened, and that Stella had defeated the cavalry commander, he realized that he had lost all his support. He burst out in anger and began beating one of the enslaved girls, as if it were just something to empty his anger into. But suddenly, a mysterious person wearing a black cloak appeared, sitting in the window, and said to him in a quiet voice, "You know who will completely ruin your life? It's Ren Schrode. If you don't get rid of him now, he will take everything from you, and your life will end in prison, shunned with no one on your side." The prince backed down and asked, "Who are you? And why did you come here?" The mysterious man smiled and threw a cursed ring at him, then said, "This is a cursed tool that kills its target immediately. Take it, and take Ren quickly." The prince looked at the ring. His features began to fill with greed, and he was overwhelmed with the joy of revenge. The prince looked out the window but did not find the mysterious man, as if he had disappeared in a flash. He felt that a catastrophe was imminent. At the time, the girl who had been tortured by the prince was being held in her cell, barely able to move from the intensity of the beating, and she prayed to God that someone would come to her rescue. Indeed, Stella arrived with her soldiers at the palace gate to arrest the ruler and his son for their corruption. But palace guards refused to let them in, and mobilized large numbers of soldiers to confront them. But Kennedy and Tanya were on the lookout for these soldiers. As the prince watched the battlefield, he was eagerly awaiting Ren's appearance so he could use the cursed ring to kill him. The atmosphere was tense, and everything suggested that things would soon turn upside down. Meanwhile, Ren arrived at the palace using the camouflage spell done by Sora and Rona, and then asked them to sneak into the palace and find the whereabouts of the captives to rescue them. The girls used a monitoring spell and indeed were able to locate the prisoners, but were surprised by the presence of a very dangerous entity in one of the palace prisons. Sora said anxiously to him, "Rin, there's a very strong energy in one of the cells. It seems to be one of the strongest categories like us." Ren answered her firmly, "Free the captives and save them. I'm going to go to the power supply and see what's going on there." The girls were scared, but he reassured them, "Don't worry, I'll come back safely. Then go to the unknown power source." When he opened the door, he found a girl trapped inside a cell, visible marks of torture on her body. Ren broke down the cell door and rushed towards her to help her. The girl was terrified and didn't know how to act, but he calmly told her, "Don't worry, I'm here to save you." The girl broke down in tears and fell on his lap. It turned out later that her name was Nina, and she was one of the most powerful beings of all time. She told her story to Ren, crying, "I used to live in a peaceful village, and everyone loved me, but the prince came one day and threatened me that he would torture all the people of my village in front of me and kill them if I did not surrender myself to him. I had no choice, so I put on the bondage bracelet and became a prisoner with him, subjected to all forms of torture." Ren was angry and moved by her words, then firmly told her, "Don't worry, you'll be freed now." But Nina backed down, saying, "You can't. The bracelet has a very dangerous spell on it, and if you try to remove it, you may die." Ren smiled confidently and said, "Don't worry, I'll deal with it." Nina surrendered to him, and Ren began to untie the bracelet. But as soon as he touched him, the spell unleashed violent electric shocks that swept through his entire body. Nina shouted, "Stop! You're going to die." But do you think Ren will back down after everything that happened to her? He gathered all his strength, focused his full energy, and finally, he managed to break the bracelet and save her. Nina was stunned by what he had done and thanked him with tears of joy. At that moment, the battle outside the palace was raging. The cavalry was fighting the guards, and Kanade and Tanya managed to eliminate half of the guards alone. But the large numbers were still a threat. Some guards tried to use the captives as hostages, but Sora and Rona quickly confronted them after moving all the abductees to safety. Meanwhile, the governor walked into the prince's room and asked him, "What's going on?" The prince smiled maliciously and said, "Don't worry, just a bunch of insects, I'll wipe them out myself. You run away and leave them to me." The governor nodded, took his bag, and began to run away. Meanwhile, Rain and Nina had met Kennedy and Tanya inside the palace. Everyone was surprised to find Nina with Ren, but soon realized that she had become their ally. Kennedy approached Nina and joked, "Well, you look stronger than I expected." Everyone laughed and felt that things were starting to work in their favor. Suddenly, the governor appeared trying to escape from the palace, but they stopped and disarmed him. Now, only the prince is left. Indeed, the prince appeared in front of them, and then did the cursed ring. A spirit-reaping spirit appeared in front of Ren, holding the sickle of death, as if preparing to end his life. Is this really the end of it? On the roof of the palace, Arius was listening to what was happening. He smiled maliciously and said, "Finally, I got rid of you, Ren." Then he turned around and left the place. But contrary to expectations, Ren is not dead. He didn't even hurt. Everyone was shocked. How did that happen? It turns out that due to Rena's contract with Sora and Rona, he acquired two main powers. From Sorat, the ability to control magic, which he previously used to protect people from the attack of the prince. From Rona, the ability to analyze spells and protect oneself from them, even if it is the spell of the Death Scythe. Rona had figured it out earlier, even tried a poisonous spell on him, but he wasn't affected by it. The prince could not believe what had happened, and his anger flared even more. But when he looked at Ren and saw Nina standing next to him, his hatred exploded unnaturally. The cursed ring in his hand began to glow. He fulfilled all the conditions for activation. An ominous energy came out of him that began to swallow the prince completely. Everyone stood stunned. Even Ren couldn't believe what was happening. He tried to attack the mysterious energy, but there was no use. And suddenly, the energy froze and began to break. A giant hand appeared from within. It was so huge that everyone froze in their places from the horror of the view. After that, the whole body appeared. Rin's eyes widened, and he froze in place. He knew this being. He is the devil who killed his parents and completely destroyed his village. It seems that a major catastrophe is about to happen. Now Satan looked at Rain and his companions and said with a malicious smile, "I was thinking about killing you now, but I think I'll go and enjoy killing more first." He then left for the center of the capital, where there are the largest number of people, to begin another bloody massacre. Ren and his team were outraged and realized they had to move quickly to save the innocent. They had no choice but to catch up with the devil and stop him at all costs. At the same time, Stella was tasked with protecting Nina, evacuating the city's residents to safe places. When they reached Satan's position, they found that he had already begun to kill and destroy, crushing everyone who encountered him without mercy. Satan turned to them with a wry smile and said, "Good, you have come to entertain me." But Kennedy didn't wait for him to finish, so she ran towards him and gave him a powerful kick that knocked him down, while Renas took advantage of the opportunity and tied him up with his weapon. But Satan was very powerful, and he easily managed to free himself. At that moment, Sora and Rona launched a huge ice spell, which completely covered the earth with a layer of ice. But the surprise was that the devil was not hurt at all. He laughed sarcastically and told them, Fighting 5 against 1? That's not fair. I think I need some help. He then summoned a massive army of monsters, and they began attacking Ren and his team. At first, they were able to repel attacks, but the numbers never ended. The devil seized the opportunity and dealt an ominous magic blow to Kennedy, which severely injured her. Rin, Sora, and Rona rushed to her to treat her, while Tani tried to fend off the magic in any way, but she was also injured, even though her dragon spirit protected her from the full impact of the attack. Then, Satan raised his hands to heaven and unleashed a magic spell that split into several parts and fell on the city. Ren got very angry and fired magic shots. At the same time, Sora and Rona used the fairy magic to restrict him, giving Ren the opportunity to use the reinforcement spell on Kanade and Tanya. He told them, "Now finish him." The two girls jumped towards the devil, directing a barrage of attacks at him, severely injuring him and throwing him into the sky. Then followed another attack with the magic of the fairies, which led to the amputation of his arm. But even this was not enough to defeat him. The devil summoned more monsters until the place was completely filled with them, and then withdrew to a high place to start a devastating spell that could wipe out the entire city. At this moment, Rain had an idea, but it was impossible to implement in the current chaos. Rona decided to move the residents to safe places, while Kanade and Tanya provided support and protection to Ren as he fought. The fairies arrived at Stella, who was fiercely fighting the monsters, and they told her the plan. Stella understood the situation and immediately began to gather civilians and guide them towards the transition gate created by Sora and Rona. Nina stayed with the girls to protect them. Meanwhile, Kanade and Tanya were fighting monsters fiercely, prompting Rin to try to help them, but told him he had to save his energy to confront the devil. Sora and Rona had completed the transition gate, but the residents were reluctant to cross, especially after learning of the fact that it was created by fairies. But because of what Rain and the girls did to protect the city, people began to take courage, agreeing to cross quickly before the monsters reached them. On the other side, Rain and his companions had been trapped by endless monsters. But before the fight began, the cavalry arrived in full force to join the battle. An official order has been issued by the guild to help the Ren team eliminate the devil, after it turns out that the fake hero and his team were hiding without moving. Antar, the powerful blacksmith, was distributing real weapons to everyone, making the battle more balanced. At that moment, Nina was upset because she was the only one who had not helped yet, even though she was one of the strongest categories. Therefore, she decided to leave Sora and Rona and head towards Ren, who was trying to perform a special spell on the devil, but was unable due to the large distance between them. She needed a spell to convey it directly to the devil. But who can do that? Of course, Nina. As the fox's soul, it has a unique ability to navigate instantly wherever you want. When Ren realized this, he asked her to help him, and she immediately agreed. While Kanade and Tanya were battling monsters, Rin carried Nina on his back. Then they quickly set off towards the devil. The devil saw them and tried to hit them, but Ren used his weapon to dodge attacks brilliantly. The devil then collected a huge amount of black energy and released it towards them. But at the last moment, Rin used Nina's ability to move instantly and appeared right in front of the devil. The devil was shocked by his speed and tried to escape, but to where? Ren angrily told him, "You won't get away with me this time." He then cast the ultimate strengthening spell on himself, dealing a tremendous blow to Satan, completely restraining him. Satan's energy began to gather around Ren, and he was about to die, but he remembered all the people he had to protect, and he regained his power again. He shouted in a loud voice, "This is your end, Satan!" He then used the power of controlling the beasts and issued an order to all the monsters summoned by Satan, "Eliminate your master." The monsters began to madly attack Satan, tearing him apart and devouring him piece by piece until there was nothing left, and so on. Ren's and his team won. The magical remnants of the devil began to fade, while Rain and Nina fell completely exhausted. But before they hit the ground, Tanya flew quickly, grabbed them at the last minute. Everyone stood looking at each other, and then the city exploded with shouts of joy and victory. After the battle, Nina dressed cleanly, then approached Ren and said excitedly, "I want to join your team." Ren liked the idea and decided to make a contract with her as well. Indeed, the contract was made, and Nina became an official member of the team, making everyone very happy to have the youngest member join them. Ren then went to the Adventurers Guild to inform them that Nina had joined his team, There, he met Stella, who told him that she was working with the Union to rebuild the city and repair the destroyed houses. This was a move that had never happened before, making everyone feel hopeful for a better future. One Union employee congratulated him, saying, "Ren, you have defeated the devil. I've risen to 3rd rank now." Everyone rejoiced at the news, and Ren was delighted. After that, he asked her about a suitable home for the team, especially as their number increased and they needed a bigger place to live. The employee smiled and said, "I have the solution. I'll show you some available houses." They started searching, but they didn't like any house until they finally got to a house that seemed quite a fit. The employee told them, "This house has all the specifications you are looking for, but it only has one problem." Ren asked her, "And what is it?" She replied seriously, "He is haunted. There's a ghost living in it." At that moment, Kennedy was so terrified that she was on the verge of losing consciousness from fear. But Ren reassured her, saying, "Let's check it first, and if we don't like it, we won't take it." They entered the house and found it very clean, and there was nothing strange in it. But as soon as they reached the lounge, the ground began to shake, and the objects moved by themselves. Then they heard a frightening voice saying to them, "Leave this place immediately." Kennedy almost lost consciousness, while the ghost appeared in front of them trying to scare them. Surat and Rona attacked him, but their attacks did not affect him. The ghost tried to scare them again, but Ren and his companions showed no fear, leaving him confused. That's when they realized that this ghost doesn't have any offensive techniques, and all it can do is just talk. Sora and Rona activated a spell to lock him up, and Rain then installed him using a technique he had previously heard in his village. Yes, even ghosts can tame Ren. Everyone sat talking with the ghost, only to find out that her name was Tina. She told them her whole story, and then told them, "Since you didn't run away, I'll leave this place to you." But do you think Ren would let her go so easily? Of course not. Ren suggested that she stay with them and live at home, and everyone happily agreed to the idea. Tina was so happy that she decided to stay with them. After that, Ren officially finalized the house purchase papers from the guild, and the house became the property of the team. When they returned home, everyone sat around the same table and started eating together. The atmosphere was full of joy, and everyone was feeling the warmth of the family. Ren looked at them, then remembered his old family, and his eyes filled with tears, but he was grateful for the new life he is now living. Thus, the team lived happily together, ready for new adventures in the future. And that's where this great anime ends. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. See you on other adventures. Goodbye. Movie Camera Fire.